Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Brittany Blackman here from Breathe Easy Rentals, and we are diving into step 2 of I have a vacation rental property. Do I self manage or do I pick a property manager? And in our first episode, we chatted very quickly and just discussed, sitting down and deciding, do you have the time, the resources, the patience available to learn and get involved with self managing? Or do you need to pass that baton on and get a property manager involved? That's really step one, is deciding where you're at on the playing field. Once you get that figured out, step two, and this is whether you choose to self manage or if you choose to go with a property manager, you really need to set your goals for the property. You have this vacation home or condo, which is amazing. It is still a business. And in order to operate a good business, you need to have a business plan. You need to have a vision, an idea. What kind of experience are you trying to create? What are the expectations? And so, again, whether you're going to do this on your own or you're going to hire a property manager, knowing all of those different things is hugely valuable and will save you a little bit of heartache down the line if you go ahead and figure a few of these things out ahead of time. So one of the big things that's something I see a lot of is, did you buy this for investment purposes only? Is this something that you want to rent it like crazy? Maybe you want it to just be mailbox money and just coming in. You want to be hands free of it. Or maybe it obviously is investment, but you want to use it more often and you want to send your friends and your family. Maybe you want to come visit once a month and check in on things. So really understanding like what are your initial goals of the property, based on usage is very important. I think the second thing that pairs with that brings the money into it. Is there a certain financial need that you have in order for this property to be sustainable? First off, personally, that's important for you to know and keep up with. But secondly, and especially if you're going to go with a property manager, them knowing that ahead of time is very crucial. As a property manager, I would want to be able to say, hey, I'm so sorry. I just don't think that's realistic for us. Or hopefully, I'm coming to you saying, yeah, we can totally do that. That's going to be great. We're on the same, mind frame. Let's move forward with it. But not knowing what your goals are can definitely lead to some issues and some awkward conversations down the line. I think the next thing that kind of plugs into that is, nightly minimum rates. I've worked with so many different owners in the past, and there are some owners who they don't care. They just want it rented. They trust the property manager, and they just say, hey, rent this bad boy. As long as I've got money coming in and you're taking care of my property, everything's great. There are other owners who set a value for their property, whether it's a number they have created, a number they have heard, seen somewhere, I don't know. They have this number of, I'm just not willing to go below that. You kind of need to know where you fall on that chain. And again, especially if you're going to go with the property manager, you have to communicate that. Some managers don't have systems to set those restrictions up. Some do. But if I, as the property manager, don't even know that that's an expectation and we're learning this down the line, that's very difficult. Again, awkward conversation. So think about that ahead of time. Is, do you have a minimum? If you're going to see $100 a night on your statement, are you going to be upset? And you need to know that, again, whether you're self-managing or not, so you can be prepared for that and just watch it. The next thing that plugs into this, I swear we're building a puzzle out of all of this, is the nightly rates. Or not nightly rates, but the nightly minimums. Are you going to allow 1 and 2 night stays? Maybe it's 3 and 4 night stays. Maybe it's a week minimum. And guys, if we're not renting it for a week at least, we're not renting it at all. And I think with this one, there's not too many owners that are very concerned with this because a lot of associations might have, restrictions already in place on that everybody's having to follow. So most owners just kind of go with the flow. But I have experienced some owners that, again, they just have this thing set of, I don't want to rent if it's going to be less than 7 nights, and that is fine. As a property manager, I need to know that. Not all property managers are going to be okay with that or set that up. You have to ask that question ahead of time. If you're self-managing, you just kind of need to know. You're going to have to set that up at some point in the process. It's going to ask you what's your minimum night rental, and based on each season. You need to know that. Very basic question, but very important. Kind of going into like the tail end of this of goals, what kind of experience do you want to provide? What are maybe 3 to 5 words or short sentences that would describe the property and the value you want to bring? When someone comes in, stays, and leaves, what do you want them to say? And to me, that's really cool. If you write down those 3 to 5 things and you circle back to them as you consider self-management or you talk to different property managers, you're going to really realize, does this path that I'm looking at going down lead me to this destination? Is this property manager going to help me create that kind of experience and that wow factor or the ooh factor or whatever it may be? But if you don't even know what kind of goal you have for that, what you want to be known for, that can be difficult. And on the flip side, there may be some of you who are just 100% investment property owners and you don't care about that experience. And that is totally fine. You just want it rented. That's great. You need to know that. Your property manager needs to know that. I just want to set it and forget it and not worry about it. Versus, I do have these expectations. I do have this vibe that I want my property to bring. And then finding that property manager that blends with that, shares those same, thoughts and visions, and will help you create that experience is huge. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave it for today in this quick video. We've got a few more steps I think that are really important as you go through this journey. They're going to dive a little bit more into actually looking at property managers. What are questions that you ask, things that you look for. Unfortunately, I don't have the experience in self-management, so I don't want to lead you astray. I'm sure there's other resources out there for that can be helpful with questions and things that you have from this point. But, again, step 1, do you have the time, the resources, the patience? Step 2, what are your goals? No matter which route you're going to take of self-management or property manager, what are your goals? What experience do you want to create from your property? And then how are we going to get there? So I hope you're enjoying these. I've got some of the information written up on a blog. I'm going to keep adding to this information and doing these little helpful videos because honestly, I've gotten some great feedback on it. It seems to kind of help people who are in that initial thought process, or maybe you just get so much feedback, it gets a little blurry sometimes. So if there is anything else y'all want to hear from or about, please let me know. Happy to be a resource as best as possible, and good luck in your journey. Bye.